to put it on 45 instead of 33 for those of you who know what that means. So anyway, here's Michael Ramsey one more time to talk all things technology and digital.
Thank you, Phil. I'll try to be better than the weather. Okay, so, is everybody ready? Ready to break? Blue caffeine, all fired up? There you go. Yes. Woo!
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, good. That's better. All right, so, there's going to be a test as a part of this section. I'm just going to prepare you. I need you to pay attention to the screen. I'm going to show you an image. That's somebody's phone. Somebody set it up. It'll go really, it's not painful. It's going to be great. All right, I'm going to show you something. It's something you've probably seen before. When you recognize what it is, I want you to shout it out. It's going to be a logo that you might have seen on your phone. Got it? Yeah. Now pay attention. Yeah. Are you ready? Here we go. If this works. Okay, it's a quiz. Mid-morning. Candy Crush. Who said that first? We always know who the big gamer is because they always say, this is profiling. Who said that? Okay. Very good.
And you're
very diverse. Everybody knows that's softball.
I'm good at this way.
LinkedIn. Cool. Zillow. Right? Lots of fun driving around your neighborhood. See what the houses cost.
Twitter.
Another softball. Snapchat. Right? It's all not really, but it used to be.
Vine.
R.I.P. Vine.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right.
TikTok.
Right? This one's relatively new. Who does
The new Vine.
this one? Twitch. Who said that? There's always one that spends too much time doing games. Yeah, that's it. YouTube, softball.
Google Maps.
Google Maps. How we got here?
Apple Maps.
Apple Maps. Good. Who said that? You. You are bad man. Ask your kids if they're gamers. They're talking about Discord, right? It's another. Do that. It's the old Instagram logo, right? DoorDash, right? Dinner's going to come through DoorDash. I mean, done DoorDash? Do you love it? Yeah? Okay, cool. Uber, right? I had one for Lyft, but it says Lyft on it, so that's not fun. Waze. I love Waze, don't you? Waze is awesome. It's fun to compare the three and kind of see how they perform.
MySpace.
Are you on MySpace?
Tom's my only friend.
Who is it?
Guess what? MySpace is still out there, and you can actually download it, right?
Right.
I know. You get a gold star.
Music
So
videos.
that's really cool. WhatsApp, very good. I love WhatsApp. Awesome. Shazam, right? Drive down the phone, try to Shazam the song, figure out what you're listening to. Spotify.
Pandora.
Okay, so who's Team Pandora? Who's Team Spotify? Okay. Napster. Guess what? Napster's also still out there. Believe it or not, it's still there. Crazy. You would think the law. No. It's Venmo. Does everybody know what Venmo is? If you're a millennial, I'll tell you what Venmo is. If you want to get money from a millennial, what? It's how you pay the babysitter. That's right. Very good. Very good.
PayPal.
PayPal. All right, it's an easy one.
Fortnite.
Is that you again?
Yeah.
Like 78 million people play Fortnite every day, right? And you can download the app too, and you can really just ruin your day.
This is what all the kids are playing.
This is what all the kids are playing. That's exactly right. Okay, so why is this important, right? I'll tell you why. Because the average American spends 4 hours a day on a mobile device of some type, right? I hate this screen on my phone. Have you all discovered this on your iPhone, Jeff?
Yeah.
It sends me a reminder once a week.
Yes, your phone tells you to stand up, and this one tells you that you're spending way too much time on Facebook, right? It's really crazy. But guess what? That's where our audiences are today, and that's part of our digital conversation that we're going to kind of continue now, and then also really kind of get into the gravel in a breakout, actually a couple of breakouts this afternoon, Geofencing 101 specifically. Why? You play Fortnite now? All right.
Oh my God.
So why is this important? This is where parents are, right? We know this. We're on it. Parents are on it. Here's the deal. Look, Google, 3.5 billion searches a month, 1.2 trillion searches a year, 63% of the search market that they own, right? But when you get to mobile, it jumps up to 93% of this. How many of you on your last vacation used Google to figure out what you were going to do? Did you write to the Chamber of Commerce for approval of your shares?
Go to AAA.
AAA, probably not, right? The statistics say you will go to 20, you'll do 20 different searches to plan your vacation just on Google alone, and then you're going to jump over to TripAdvisor, then you're going to go to Yelp, right? And we all do that, right? So do our parents. Google, right? Your true story. Go home and search for your council on Google. I live between Longhorn and Circle 10 councils. I've told this story before, and it's still true. I live between Longhorn and Circle 10 councils. Big councils, lots of packs. I'm sitting at my dinner table, right almost between the two councils, and I search for Find Cub Scouting Near Me. This shows up. This is Cub Scout Pack 321, and I think they're in North Richland Hills, which is a suburb of Fort Worth. Look at this picture, right? Look at this Cub Scout Pack page that came up as a Google pin, right? They've got pictures, they've got ratings, they've got a couple of stars. You know, it's not huge, but they've rated themselves, right? Listen, this is from my dining room table. On that same search came this one. There was no contact information, no hours, no location to speak of, no anything. I'm pretty sure that's a chain link fence. It looks like a prison to me. It's everything but the guard dog, right in there. I actually covered up the contact information so not to embarrass anybody on this site. But so if you're a millennial parent, if you're a parent at all, how are you going to find Cub Scouting if you've not seen beascout.org? You're going to Google it, right? You're going to Google it. And what's going to pop up? Are you going to join this pack? Oops. You're going to join this one? Or are you going to contact this one? I think it's pretty easy. You're not going to call these people, right? I mean, it'd be an amazing pack, but you just don't have any kind of digital presence in this space, right? It's really important. Facebook. Why we focus on Facebook? You hear a lot about that this afternoon as well. 2/3 of all Americans are on Facebook. It's we keep hearing these rumors, oh, Facebook's dying, what's the next big thing? Guess what? Americans are still on this page and they're still checking it. Most of them visit the site 75% at least once per day. There's a stat later on that says it's much, much higher than that. People say, well, what about all these other channels? So I got Snapchat. Guess what? Facebook it's the 800-pound gorilla. It's far ahead of any other channel in these spaces, and it's where our parents are. There are other channels as well, but this is the major aggregator for these. This is interesting, and Tom talked about this a little bit. They've done some work with teens on YouTube, on Facebook. They're there, but it's not the super channel for that audience. Get this, 43% of all Americans get their news from Facebook. Yeah, that was my response too, was oh no.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Or maybe it's not. At least they're getting the news someplace, right? Here's the deal. Here's what we know about our customers today. 64% of people read a review online. Who's ever stood in Target and scanned a barcode on a box to see what Amazon says about whatever it is you're about to buy? Come on. Right? Or some store, right? Right? And to see if the wheels are going to fall off this thing when you buy it. That's right. Absolutely. Check them out. 57% of people have already made up their minds before they ever go to a store to make a purchase because we're going to Amazon to see what the review says, right? Before I actually go out and buy it, because I can't wait the few hours it's going to take for Amazon to get it to me. But, right? There's another stat that says mom checks her Facebook page over 6 times a day. I don't know, I've checked mine 3 times this morning during Anthony's presentation, but. What? Hey, Facebook doesn't update itself, so you got to 65% of people learn about new products and services through digital media, right? We all see this, right? In the carousel in your Facebook feed, right? Here's all this stuff from Amazon that you didn't know that you needed, right? It's like, oh, my forklift, it's great. So it's phenomenal.
God bless you.
So how do we make this work for scouting? And so we're going to talk high level here and then kind of get into it some more this afternoon. You should definitely go home and Google yourself. Sounds wrong when you say it like that, but you should totally go home and do that. Go to your home council. Guess what? The #1 search term out there right now is find blank near me. Find barbecue near me, find barbershop near me, try find Cub Scouting near me, right? Try find Boy Scouting near me, try find Boy Scout camp near me. That's how we really stumbled across this in the first place, is that same study. Let's test, find Boy Scout camp near me, because I'm a Scoutmaster from Texas and I want to camp someplace where it's not 85 degrees at night. I did this same search. I didn't get any one of the council camps that are where I live. I got Kima Scout Reservation, Northwest Arkansas, was advertising, and they had done a search by targeting me in Dallas-Fort Worth market. Talk to those guys, they're spending next to nothing, a couple $100 on their camp marketing and targeting leaders from other councils to come to their camp property. They are tripling what their camp attendance is by some of these marketing tactics. It's super cool. It's really interesting. You should definitely go home and try it. Take a look at it. Take a look at putting your council on. Make sure that you own your search for your council on the map. Most councils do. I've actually done a pretty thorough random search. Most councils, you can find them on search, but then go through and start looking at units. I don't believe, I just know, if you're a Cub parent and you don't get a flyer or see an ad from us that says beascout.org, they're gonna go to Google. So take a look at that, and I think something you should encourage them to do is make sure that unit is on the map so parents can find you. Nextdoor, who has worked with Nextdoor? A little bit. Experiences with Nextdoor so far?
Wonderful.
Love it.
Really lots of connections with the people that are in my neighborhood, everything from lost pets to somebody's left something out on the curb for
Sure.
free.
Right. Have you used it for Cub marketing or Scout marketing at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and have gotten fairly good results.
Okay. Who else? Who else has used it? Yes, ma'am.
I did it for my girl troop.
Right.
And then also in my boy troop for links, and had conversations were great. And
Right.
then what was funny is that you would get that one troll, and then all these other people would chime in and then, correct them.
Right.
And it was all good, but it was actually really neat to see the conversations that came out from that.
The interesting thing about Nextdoor is that and this is an important factor of geofencing we'll talk about, is that it's hyper-local. It's neighborhood-based, so it's not, here's an ad that's flying up here at 30,000 feet. It's right there in your community. There's a venturing crew in my neighborhood that advertises. They don't advertise, they post on Nextdoor. And they pulled a great picture from the brand center. They have some really cool copy, and it's, hey, come join us for pizza night at whatever location and check out venturing. It's super cool. It's hyper-local. They're not paying anything for it. We are looking into some things on Nextdoor at the enterprise level. How can we help manage some of this from a national level? And Darren's looking at some of that kind of stuff now. The cost at enterprise level is kind of beyond what we've been willing to invest in at this point. But I think it's important to make sure that those units claim their organization on Nextdoor, and Nextdoor does a good job of explaining how to do that, just so you're visible at that hyper level community. You're absolutely right. This is about your community and your neighborhood. And so if my pack posts, hey, it's whatever, time to join, it just goes to that hyper-targeted area, which is, we've heard from other councils, is really effective. We've got one in the West that uses it for new unit development, and we're still looking into a case study for that as well. So really also important. Facebook. Everybody knows there's a difference between an organizational Facebook page and a personal Facebook page, right? Okay. You should leverage, this is kind of a no-brainer. You should really begin to leverage Facebook. We'll talk about this again in great detail this afternoon, but the organizational pages have a much different, much more robust suite of tools than your personal Facebook page does. Things like events, things like, the calendar is just amazing. And we've done a lot of testing over this past year, but we're gonna talk about that. Yeah.
One best practice we learned the hard way.
Yep.
If your council has multiple Facebook pages, start it through the business account and start with business manager so you can manage them all from one spot.
Right. Yeah, and I think we'll get into some of the gymnastics of that this afternoon. And Darren Ken is with us, and Darren drove the geofencing project nationally last year. I think we geofenced 3,119, but who's counting packs? I mean, it was a lot. We learned a whole lot from it. Here's what that looked like. So, in case you don't know what geofencing is, that's actually what we do to an invitation to a Facebook event. So a Facebook event, if you've not been into this yet, within your Facebook feed, let's say, I don't know, the Eagles are coming to town, right? It's a concert that's coming. And Anthony says that he's going to go to it. Well, he and I are Facebook friends. It pops up and says, Anthony's interested in this. And I say, I'm interested in it too. So it goes on your calendar and it reminds you, right? And it will remind you of it, right? So you have an organizational page. We'll back up a little bit. If you put some money behind this, if you boost it, it increases the reach of the number of people that see this individual invitation. So whatever Anthony posts, his friends see, but if I'm a business and I boost my event, then a lot more people see it. Be very, very, very basic about it, right? So we went in and literally, as Darren mentioned earlier, we geofenced across 20 different councils, over 3,000 individual units. It was really interesting, and we got a lot of data back that we learned a lot from, right? So what does it look like? Darren described this earlier. We did search across the whole country, and we have for the past 5 years. If you search for join Cub Scouting, for instance, or any one of these national search terms, anywhere in the country, from California to Maine, you were going to get beascout.org. Everybody got that. And then we went to these 20 councils and we said, okay, we're going to go in and we're going to market your joint scouting season at the council level. So anybody within the zip codes of the Red Rash Council, for instance, is going to, and you're part of our demographic, mom or dad, an elementary school age kid within a certain age group, you're going to get an ad in Facebook that says, hey, it's time to join Cub Scouting, right? And then we went down to those councils and we said, give us the date, time, the location of every single joint scouting night that you're doing for every pack that you've got. We got 3,000 of these things, right? And how that works is super hyper-local. So the experience for a parent is, I go pick up my son or daughter at elementary school and I drop, so what we did in the event, we dropped what we call dropping a geofence on top of the school, which means we set a geographic radius of 1 mile or 2 miles, even down as small as half mile around this school. Has anybody got the Target app on their phone or the Starbucks app? Right? What happens when you get close to a Starbucks? Thing lights up, right? Caramel macchiatos are on sale, or whatever the message is. Same with Target. You get in the Target parking lot, that thing lights up and says, here's the barcode you're supposed to scan and all this other kind of stuff, right? Well, same thing with us, except it sets off a notification within your Facebook feed that says, Joint Scouting Night is going to be at Stonegate Elementary School, which is the school where you're picking your kid up, at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. We target a specific demographic at a very specific location, and we'll talk about the mechanics of that this afternoon. Here's what's cool about it, though. So think about it. You're doing posters, flyers, yard signs, stickers, and all the other stuff you're doing to market scouting, and then mom also gets, or dad, gets a notification that says, oh, and by the way, here's another reminder, it's another touch that says Joint Scouting Night is Tuesday night. And it keeps reminding you, just like Facebook invitations do. Super cool. Here's what we saw. Within the same councils, geofenced units versus those that were not geofenced, geofenced units saw an average increase, this is average, some did better, some did worse, of over 7%. That's new Cub Scouts within the same unit. Here's a true story. We got these numbers, and I said, these aren't right, send them back, because this is too high. And they came back and said, actually, the previous numbers were lower than this. They said, no, this is actually, it's even better. So we saw some councils, regions did better, some did worse, but on average, across the board, it was about 7%. Non-geofenced units within the same councils, down in new Cub Scouts, over 9%. So there's a huge gap. It's just unbelievable. That's why I sent the numbers back and said, and by the way, we have a real live data analyst that works in the national office, Christopher. I think he's a PhD, isn't he? Isn't he?
Masters.
Anyway, he's smarter than the average bear, and he's all about analytics. And I said, nope, this is absolutely right. They've sliced and diced this data left and right. It's phenomenal. But there's almost a 17-point gap between those that didn't and those that did. It's really interesting. Other things we found out, single units that had geofenced a school, so Factory 74, at geofenced Stonegate Elementary School, did really well. We think part of that dynamic is if I pick my son up or daughter every day at Stonegate, I know the school. I'm not going to some place that I don't know. I'm familiar with I know where the cafeteria is, and it's something that I'm familiar with. And maybe I know parents that are in the Cub Scout pack already. A lot of dynamics going on there. We also found, and by the way, we also did multiple joining events. So in Facebook, we'll talk about this afternoon, if I have a joint scouting night at Stonegate Elementary School, I can also geofence multiple locations. I could geofence another school, a daycare center, those kinds of things. But we did events where they had a joint scouting event in a park, and you might geofence. We did 34 different locations in one example. Those did okay, but they didn't knock it out of the park. Those one-to-one relationships seemed to work really, really well. What didn't work well was churches. And we can talk for a while about why that may or may not have worked. So imagine I'm doing a joint scouting night at my church. I geofenced the school to come to a joint scouting night even at the church. It's not my church. So actually did not do well at all, to the point that we decided we're not going to geofence those anymore because we don't think the juice is worth the squeeze, to quote F.D.L. Marcos. There's probably a variety of reasons. It's not my church. Are they going to try to recruit me? I don't know, right? There's a lot of things going on. Maybe not familiar with that location. So that didn't work really well. Here's the kicker on this deal. On geofencing, the default is like $10. But guess what? Facebook will take all your money if you let them. But you can geofence a unit for $1 a day. And we're recommending about a 2-week buy. It kind of with your flyer distribution, right? So it could be, if you're flyering a week out, flyers go out on Tuesday, joint scouting nights the next Tuesday, might be a 7-day buy, right? Hyper targeted, we'll talk about all that kind of stuff this afternoon, but it's really affordable and highly, highly, highly targeted. So it's an amazing. We found some amazing results about it. The 20, are there any 20 here that have done this? I think Aaron. He took off. Had a really good experience with it. So yeah, Matt, what's your experience been?
It's been fantastic. We recruited, I think we were out for the first time in 6 years.
Wow.
Doing this kind of program.
Say that again?
So they were up for the first time in 6 years.
Yep.
With geofencing. Very cool. It's interesting stuff. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have it in Hartford too, and we adopted. We loved it in the fall, and we adopted for Scout BSA units moving forward. We took it out of our own budget just to do it, promote it, because we're going to save money on flyers.
Yeah. And the other thing where we tested it, and Tom mentioned this a little bit, we've tested it with Scouts BSA. Now, Scouts BSA is a little bit different dynamic. Cub Scouting is kind of on rails, right? We know when joint scouting season is for Cub Scouting. They've been doing it the same way probably forever and ever. Scouts BSA, when do they recruit? If they recruit at all? It's probably January, February-ish, right? It's that we low scout transition thing going on. There's not a lot of joint scouting nights, not a lot of events, unless it's an open house. So we're still testing out to see how that works. And where's the scout hut usually? It's in that church parking lot. So we're thinking through those kinds of things and trying to figure out, okay, how's that really gonna play out? So we'll talk about more of that in great detail this afternoon. Yes, sir.
Is there going to be any time we publish like sort of guidelines on a blueprint of exactly how you go about doing it?
Yes.
Because our council was part of the 20 in my pack.
Right.
Was one of the units that was geocached. I got great leads. It led to nobody joining. And I reached out to all the people multiple times and was like, okay, what am I doing wrong here?
Right.
So,
Well, let's talk about it. See, we probably have the data for your unit. We can take a look and see what the click-throughs and those kinds of things were. I'm perfectly honest, we had councils that overperformed in some areas. We had some that way underperformed. And so here's a true story. We were looking at some data coming in. There was a joint scouting night event, Cleveland or Cincinnati. Didn't go well. We had a lot of geofences going on a Thursday night. Well, guess what? There was a preseason game that was going on that night, and evidently, it was Cleveland, right? Somebody was playing the first night. We looked at the data and said, yes, Baker Mayfield was playing, and evidently it was down across the board. It was an interesting way to look at the data on those things. But yeah, let's hold up with Darren after this, and we can talk about your situation. Yeah.
So, it relates to this, or I've used this and shows us success. For a lack of a better term, on the civilian side, I own an outdoor activity center that operates like 4 months of the year. And I built that business all on social media and geofencing, because marketing is expensive, advertising is expensive.
Right.
By year 2, we got tourist attraction of the year award, 2 years in business in a large area. So applying these things now to scouting, as I move into those positions, it's amazing what you can do and the reach that you can get and the excitement and the buzz that starts in your community based off of it.
Thank you. That's a great story. So, and again, we'll talk about this afternoon because I'm getting the high sign from Phil here. But think about the fact that, okay, so I don't have school access at Red Rash Elementary School, right? Okay, they won't let me pass out flyers and I can't go in and do scout talks. But you can sure drop a geofence on top of that school and let those parents know that Joint Scouting Night's gonna be happening either at the event center down the street or some other location, right? So there's all kinds of ways you can use this tool to market various things that you're doing. We've talked to councils that use it to market even their district, the council annual banquet, right? Because we know the emails go out to the units. Are they opening them? People even marketing to their own people with these things. So camp marketing, event marketing, and there's also ways to use it. So if I'm going to do a banquet to target a specific industry in a city, right? So maybe I'm going to honor the contractor of the year, right? You can drop a geofence around a specific geographic area, targeting a very specific audience. I'm looking for business leaders that work in this specific industry, and let them know that this is coming up and you're going to be part of it, right? So there's all kinds of ways to think about how to use this specific tool beyond just recruiting. Cool. And we'll talk more about that this afternoon because Phil's about to get the big hook